Well, welcome to the World Autism Summit. We have John Comegys here, and he is a gentleman who is a seasoned vocational rehabilitation counselor and boasts over 30 years of experience assisting individuals with disabilities, notably those on the autism spectrum, in attaining and sustaining competitive employment. With a master's degree in vocational rehabilitation counseling and certification as a rehabilitation counselor, he brings expertise and empathy to his work. John's personal connection to autism, confirmed through a formal diagnosis, fuels his dedication. He's devoted and led highly successful job clubs tailored for adults on the autism spectrum, achieving remarkable placement rates exceeding 86%. Recognized by the Ascend, that's AASCEND, and he'll have to explain what that stands for later, of San Francisco for the outstanding contributions. John's commitment to empowering individuals with autism is evident. Thank you so much, John, for joining us today. We really are glad to have you here.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So you have to tell us what the SIN stands for.
I'd have to look it up. First two A's are autism and Asperger's, and
That's okay.
it's a very interesting little group. It was founded by a person on the autism spectrum and an ally, and it specializes in allyship, or people with on the spectrum working with others. It's more than 20 years old. I don't know exactly right off the top of my head. And they do great things, and they have a big conference every couple of years.
We're really, really glad to have you here.
Yeah,
And I know that you were attracted to coming to the World Autism Summit because we're reaching people around the world. So
yes.
I wanted to ask you what your participation, what it means to you to have you part of the World Summit.
It absolutely dovetails with what I want to do.
Okay.
I'm delighted to be here. Like I said, I ran job clubs over 6 years, 3 of them, so 10 years total experience, and I want to take it. I was going to do it just nationwide, but the truth of the matter is the Brits and the Australians have wonderful programs. And there is an autism job club in Ontario, in Canada. And I've had people reach out to me from what used to be the British Empire, from I'm not even sure if they're Commonwealth, but they're English-speaking countries. And so, sure, why not? The world.
Everybody needs a job in the world, right?
Well, yes, and autism is pretty much the same everywhere, and that's my big plan.
And how do you hope to make the biggest impact in your area of expertise?
Ooh, okay. There's a crying need for what I do. And I don't know about Canada, but I'm sure it's the same as here and other places, is that the most disabled people get services from rehabilitation, vocational rehabilitation agencies first. And there's a whole lot of people who are highly intelligent or normally intelligent, and they just are not getting the kind of services they need. And the kind of services that there are tend to be short-term and rather intense. You go for a weekend or a week or maybe a 2-month course, and you learn as much as you can, as fast as you can. And because people on the spectrum do not generalize well, and which is part of people on the spectrum tend to think concretely. They're not real good with abstractions, and I'm not. The stuff just does not generalize. If you say, well, you got to be good all the time, it's like, well, what the heck is good? What's all the time, and where do you mean it, and with whom? And it just breaks down. So what the job clubs do is that they have services that are weekly and ongoing, and we kick ideas around, and so that you can make the generalizations. The one really big thing that the Job Club did that I think is a little different than the usual canned versions is highly formatted versions, is that we spent a lot of time on self-advocacy.
Hmm.
You know, if you're on the job and you need something from the boss, how do you ask for it in a way that you'll get it? Okay. And so let me circle back and see if I answered your question. You want to know what was I doing and what difference can I make? And the answer is that with an ongoing job club and ongoing, the ones I led were for 6 years. The job club, the SN Job Club in San Francisco, is led by a lovely gentleman by the name of Keith Halpern, and he's been doing it for 8 years.
Wow.
And or maybe, yeah, he's been doing it. Well, anyway, some of that might be some of the time I put in, but anyway, it's still ongoing, and it's low key. It's very personalized, and there's one other, and I can't think of it. So,
But it must be hard to advocate, for yourself at times.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, it can be.
Mhm.
The biggest problem, the biggest vocational barrier
Mhm.
for autism, in my experience, in the experience of the people that I've been working with, is not actually the disability itself.
Mhm.
It's not the fact that we miscommunicate or that we don't understand what people are saying quickly enough to look like we know what we're doing. The real problem on the job is the anxiety.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
And anything you can do to keep the anxiety down is well worth doing. And that's pretty much what the self-advocacy is. It's asking for what you really need. In my case, I do a whole lot better with written instructions and very clear deadlines and very clear priorities. Otherwise, I just tend to get lost and muddle along and maybe not get things done as fast or as well or in the right order. I really need some help with that. And that's pretty much how it is for most of us. And
Mhm.
yeah, I'm thinking about it. Yeah, that's right.
But that's good to recognize that, a lot of people may not recognize that. So that's probably one of the skills that job group gives you, is the ability to recognize that.
Well, it's not enough to recognize. You have to know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Uh, if you go in the literature, this is usually called executive function.
Mhm.
How do you get things done? How do you know what to do first? How do you know what order to do it in? And that can be taught. And there are software applications. The one that leaps to mind is called Life Sherpa. Like a Sherpa carries your stuff as you're climbing Mount Everest. That kind of Sherpa. And they have a software program that'll go inside a notebook, and if you can put in all the stuff you have to do on the job, and you can put in timers with bells or buzzers or something, so that when it's time to take a break or go to lunch or come back from lunch. Yeah, that's can be a big one in my experience. So there's stuff like that. And Now, I don't know about Canada, but I don't know why not. You might not have to, you might not, just don't tell them where you're from. There's an outfit called Job Accommodation Network.
Hmm.
It's Ask Jan, AskJan, and I think it's .com, but it might be .org. I think it's askjan.com. There are a bunch of voc rehab counselors
Hmm.
like myself who study accommodations and ways of working around all sorts of disabilities, and they're very good. I mean, they've been doing this for a while. It's free. You can use it for school, not just work. Individuals can call up and say, I'm having this kind of a problem. How do I work around it? I'm thinking of my sister-in-law's from Ontario, and she fell off her exercycle and busted up her shoulders.
Well,
And I asked about, all the different kinds of little reaching tools and things. And she absolutely had it under control, but I was going to tell her to go to Ask Jan, because they could do that. And for the autism spectrum, they can do that. And
that would be good for global, because this is a world summit, so we want everybody, in different countries to also benefit.
well, I don't know why you couldn't. I don't
Yeah.
know, but if you send them an email, they'll email you back.
Okay.
Um,
So I know a lot of the people that are on this summit, they want to know about your autistic journey and what you do.
oh, what I do? Well, I'm a vocational rehabilitation counselor.
Mhm.
I got interested in folks with disabilities. I was a psychology major. I learned behaviorism,
Right.
rat psychology. And I took my rat psychology and I taught a little boy named, oh my God, I'm going to cry. I taught a little boy, me and the physical therapist and the special ed teacher. I mean, I was the intern, right? I'm the guy with the M&Ms, except we didn't use M&Ms. He got full too fast. We used Fruit Loops. And there's this little guy, his name's Randy, and he didn't walk. He would scoot on his butt
Yeah.
a little slower than I could run. I mean, it was good. And his parents really wanted him to walk. So I worked with him for a year, I think a year and a half. I know I came back. And it was either that or go to the zoo and prove that elephants never forget. No, really, I went to a little school in Oregon with a fabulous professor by the name of Hal Markowitz, who later said that we don't speak a word of Dolphinese learning English. But so Hal Markowitz taught me how to do this, and I learned how to work with severely disabled kids,
Mm.
and loved it, just loved it. And got a bachelor's degree in psychology is pretty much useless. I worked in special ed for a while, and I didn't want to get the credential because it was just too hard. It was a lot easier to get a master's, a 2-year master's. Okay. Vocational rehabilitation counseling is a 2-year degree with an internship. It's similar in training to a physical therapist, a little less than an occupational therapist. It's a serious degree, and most people simply don't know what it is or what we do.
Mhm.
And the biggest thing we do is we figure out what the vocational disability is. If you got the usual example is if you've got a disability, it doesn't mean that you have a vocational handicap. The blind piano tuner doesn't have a vocational handicap because he can tune his piano blind.
Mhm.
And but some things will make a difference. He's going to have to take the bus to get there, but he can do it, or he's got a guide dog. But anyway, so what I do is I figure out what is it you can do or can't do, and what kinds of modifications or accommodations. A modification would be where you change the job. An accommodation is where you get something for yourself, like Life Sherpa, like a list of what your job is. And so that when you get nervous, you can check the list and get
Mm.
work. Or
Very interesting.
Yeah. So now I'm lost. Where do we end up?
No, we're talking about the life Sherpa, and we're talking about focusing on this, what we do, focus on the gifts, the strengths and talents that people have, and then
Yeah.
honing on those and
Yeah.
helping people develop those gifts and talents that they have, right?
That's the one thing. That's the thing a voc rehab counselor can do. A voc rehab counselor can tell you what he knows the jobs. We're the only counseling type of counselor that studies vocations, all of them. So a voc rehab counselor can tell you what you or your loved one can do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Find the best fit, maybe.
yes,
Mhm.
yes, it's called job match. And there's a lot of ways to do it. And if you're good and really know the inside workings of the vocational taxonomy, you can do a computerized job match and come up with a whole lot more possibilities than somebody who's just doing it by the seat of their pants or only knows the local labor market.
Yeah, so with all the computer technology now that you have at your fingertips, there's a lot of more possibilities. I'm really excited to hear about what your click book is.
Oh,
I've been
oh,
sitting on the edge of my seat
all
wondering
right, all
that.
right. Gee, I haven't started yet, but the friend of mine who introduced me to this just finished a 100-page book and
Whoa.
showed me a couple of tricks, and by golly, they work. I'm a boomer. Okay. I shook hands with John Kennedy. I went to the Summer of Love. I am a boomer. I was a little
Me
young.
too.
Boomer. And I don't know near as much as I'd like to about all this computer stuff. So what did they show me? They showed me how to use Chat GPT,
Mhm.
which I had done before, but they know a whole lot more about it than I did. And they showed me how to use it, not just to organize stuff, but to go find uh, citations and footnotes or whatever you call that. And gee whiz. And they showed me how to use a speech text writer. I think that's it. It used to be drag and dictate like 30 years ago. Who had bilateral carpal tunnel and literally couldn't press hard enough to use one of these self-copying things to write job orders. And we got her a drag and dictate, cost a huge sum of money. They're all free and part of the machine now. Anyway, they showed me how to do that. And between having I type very slowly. So between having the drag and dictate, they don't call it that, the speech text writer, Otter.
Otter, yeah.
They're using Otter, and I'm sure there are hundreds of others, but they're using Otter, and gee, it works. And so between using the Otter and then having the Chat GPT clean the stuff up, what they're saying is that they can explain it to folks like me who are computer challenged. Like I said, my buddy, who's I won't tell you how old I am, but I'm in my early 70s, and she's in her late 70s, and she punched this thing out, and gee, it looks good. And I'm thinking, she can do it, I can do it. And I've got some stuff that's a lot more scholarly, a lot more challenging. It's a hobby.
Yeah.
And I ran that through, and my God, it looks like we're finally going to get this stuff down on paper.
Mhm.
Um,
I think a lot of people are very excited about Chat GPT. People are nervous about it too because they're afraid they're going to lose jobs. But I think it can also give jobs and opportunities to people on the spectrum and people with neurodiversity too, to make money and to make like maybe write their own books.
there is so much to be done. There is so much to be done. Autism is a vocational stuff. It's new. They used to talk about the tidal wave is coming,
Mhm.
and the tidal wave has got here. And now all of a sudden we have lots of people who are of working age.
Yeah.
There's not near enough best practices. There's not near enough, peer-reviewed, decent research. There's not near enough anything.
Mhm.
And so basically what you got is a whole lot of clinical experience. And yeah, if it's my little joke is that everybody on the spectrum and every parent of somebody on the spectrum has one good idea. And if you could put them all together, we'd have this thing licked. And so the
But I think everybody, like I've written a lot of books, a fair amount, and I think everybody, like Mark Victor Hansen, Jack Canfield, always say, everybody has a book in them. Everybody has a story in them. Everybody has a movie in them. And people love to share stories and movies and ideas. So I think that, that's a good opportunity. We're looking around for job opportunities for people with autism and people with neurodiversity. It's a good opportunity for people to share their stories.
yes, and
Storyline.
you mentioned making some money.
Yeah.
If you've got something that people need, a fellow I used to work with wrote a book called I think something like From Books to Bucks, like dollars.
Yeah.
And his idea was very simple. Is you write a book that makes you the expert, and then you sell your expertise. Okay, it can be done. Why not?
Yeah.
My thing with the job club is that this is a new model. It's cheap as things go.
Mhm.
You've got I combine a couple of expertises, if that's the plural of expertise. I am both on the spectrum and I'm a I'm a autism expert. That's one of that, I am. And I know what it looks like and feels like from the inside.
Mhm.
So when I go into the job club, I can say, whatever weird screw up you've had or strange experience, I've either had it, and if I haven't, somebody else here does. So you need an autism expert and you need a vocational expert. There aren't too many of those. There's a big disconnect. There's a lovely fellow by the name of Scott Standifer who wrote a book 12 years ago called Adult Autism Employment, if memory serves. And I'll send you a link to that. You can still get it. It's out of date and it's very useful. And it really needs to be updated. And what he said was that there's a complete disconnect between the autism experts and the vocational experts. And I would say between the autism experts, the vocational experts, and the employers.
Uh-huh.
Okay, everybody's got their own language, their own expectations, and they may not be the same. And how do you square the circle? How do you solve the problem? How do you get everybody on the same page? So anyway, with the job club, you got 2 out of 3 there. And I never actually thought about having an employer there.
That's like the most important thing. I mean, the employment model it just stays kind of stuck in the past.
Sure does.
And
And the biggest, I said that the anxiety is the biggest problem. But I'll tell you what the biggest problem for actually getting the job is if you're in a major corporation. It's like all too many of them are using what I would call a personality test. They don't call it that, but it's some kind of a test to see if you're going to fit in the corporate culture. And of course, the people on the spectrum aren't, or at least not usually. And because we're just a little different, we're wired different, we think different, we talk different, we're different. And there's my experience with a major employer that really went out of its way to hire people with autism was that we couldn't get them in the door because they had this talent plus kind of that's not what it was. And so I don't want to be I don't want to say anything unkind about or untrue about the talent. Is it Talent Plus? It's something like that. But they have this personality test, and we couldn't get anybody in the door. And in the big distribution center, or this big, I won't tell you their name, but it's a big drugstore, and I bet you could figure it out. And they couldn't fill their openings because they couldn't get them in. And with the HR directors, with the HR people, getting the job, what it really comes down to is, does somebody have the skills you're looking for, and do you like them? Do you want to work with them? You know, it's a personality contest.
Mhm.
And you get somebody, especially who doesn't know how to make eye contact, or God forbid, if they're a little slow with the central processing. So you ask them something and there's a delay. I do this. When the HR people interview, when they hear that delay, they think, oh, you're lying, or you're trying to think up the answer, or you haven't thought about this. It doesn't dawn on them that you've got somebody who has really slow auditory processing or really slow central processing. You just don't think very fast. Einstein, Einstein had this, I guess, because somebody was showing him some kind of a thing that they wanted an answer for, and he said, slow down, I don't understand quickly. Well, I'm no Einstein, but
Well,
you,
to me, I have to take things in very slowly at the beginning, and then I'm super quick.
yeah, once I've got it figured out, I'm great. But before that, no, you too. Yeah, got it. Yeah, got it.
Yes. And that's okay. And we have to be okay with everybody, you know. And what I'm noticing in sitting in this chair, and I've been in this chair for every single interview, is a common theme that everything is outdated. We're basing our decisions on old methodologies, old systems. You know, we based, like, even the medical systems, the old, like 1936, 1965, because we haven't done the double blind tests, there's a common recurring theme in all the people that I've talked to. And I have talked to 56 now people in 1 hour interviews in the past month. And
Wow.
this is what I've been doing, because I want to do this. And that's been me sitting in this seat interviewing these people. And that's the one recurring theme, is that everything is outdated. And people ask me, well, why, what is it that makes that happen? And I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I would speculate that it's financial, and maybe it's because it costs a lot of money to do a lot of studies. Maybe it's put on the back burner, like maybe it's, because the herd trend is, like people follow I don't know. I'm just saying that's a common theme that's happened with all the interviews that I've been through. And this is, yeah, just saying.
I can explain it. The problem is that with disabilities, you've got people who have like one thing in common. It's the disability. And there are way more individual differences. We usually think in terms of gender and age and income and race, maybe, and there's so much more.
It crosses everything.
And with autism, especially, it is so broad, it is so deep, it is so wide. You've got people that go all the way from an IQ of 40 to 140. Mm-hmm. 60% are not intellectually disabled. And I mean, some of them aren't quite normal, they're slow normal, they're dull normal. But but half, roughly, I guess, I don't know, have normal IQ. And the services are set up for other people with developmental disabilities. And a developmental disability usually means an intellectual disability. So you go to the agencies, so you get a job, and you get a job shelving. So you make sure that the stuff and the shelves in a grocery store hasn't gone out of date, or that it's turned right so you can read the label. This is a job for somebody with an IQ of 65, and you take one of my guys or gals with an IQ of 130, and they're going to lose their mind very shortly. And I've seen it. We have in San Francisco, there's a fella who I literally taught him how to get a job and how to help other people get a job. He was sorting cardboard boxes for one of the agencies, and now he works for actually he lost his job and he's volunteering because he likes it, but I'm hoping but he did that. He worked and got a regular salary for I think 3 or 4 years. And like I said, he was sorting boxes. And I have another fella who was a lab technician. He's got a bachelor's degree in some kind of biochemistry. Don't ask, I don't know. And now he's running a photocopy machine for a big state agency. And but it's steady, and he doesn't have to explain anything. He's working way below his capacity. I belong to the Asperger Mensa Society. Mensa Asperger special interest group. And there's a fella in there who was teaching mathematics at a university, couldn't stand the collegiate politics, couldn't stand the social demands.
Yeah.
And not working as a janitor because people leave him alone.
Yeah, exactly. No, I know exactly. It's like it's more important to him as a human being to be happy and comfortable than all the money, all the tea in China, all the money in the world.
Yeah, and if the university had been able to accommodate him a little better, I think he'd be working there still. But they accommodate the people, the employers that hire are usually small employers. 5, 10, 20 maybe employees. And if you got one who's a little, different, you can work around him. I'm from the Central Valley of California, and there was people tell stories about this funny guy who worked in this warehouse, and he had every single part memorized, and he would smoke cigarettes and hardly talked at all. I mean, he could talk, but he didn't want to. Right. But if you wanted a part, you'd go there and he'd get it for you.
Yes.
And he was not very social, and wouldn't make it past he probably wouldn't make it past the HR director if it had been a bigger organization. But by God, he knew his job. He could do it.
I know what you mean. He knew what that part was.
So that's kind of the thing. That's my hope, my dream, is find that job where the people fit in and are happy and comfortable, and the rest of them will get along with them. That's not be bosom buddies, but they'll let them work.
Yeah, and they'll be comfortable and happy working together. So circling back to that the click book, what are your hopes for that? Your involvement with the click book.
I don't know about hopes, but I'll tell you what the big plan is.
Yeah, tell me.
All right. Well, the big plan is, and it started out as like handbook, the Autism Job Club handbook. Okay, how to start an autism job club. And it dawned on me, and so I started with the easy stuff. What are the services? And the services, I'm going to make this as simple as possible. It's like, what do you like? What do you don't like? What can you do? What can you not do? And who's hiring? Okay, that's basic voc rehab right there. And so you do a vocational assessment. You figure out what they can do. And for me, that's an interview because I've been doing this so long. I was a vocational evaluator for years. I can pretty much look at people and figure out or ask a few questions and get close enough for government work. Get close enough to do some real research. And if it's terribly complicated, I'll send it out. But not usually. And so you figure out, so you do an assessment, and then you do your vocational exploration, and you send people out to look at work and to find work, and then you go and or to see what's out there and who's hiring. And then you network with your friends, because the way you get a job is not with know-how. It's know who. It's who do you know. That's how you get a job. You get a job with who do you know. You keep the job with know-how, but you get the job with know who. So you got to know somebody, pretty much.
Good. That's good.
Okay. And once you've done that, then you've got to be able to hang on to the job. Okay. And unfortunately, sad truth time, it is a lot easier to get the job than it is to hang on to it. Okay. When I was first starting out, I think between high school and college, I must have had 10 or 15, it could have been 20 different jobs. And I could hardly keep a job for more than 3 months when I started, and I slowly worked my way up. The longest I've ever worked anywhere is 4 years, because it just gets too much and I move on. And or they get tired of me and I move on, or both.
Yeah.
I've been self-employed. I was a lot happier being self-employed because I could get everything organized my way.
Right.
Okay. And there's a lot of folks who do that. They get an ally. They get somebody who'll help them, and then they go make a job, the way that works for them, and they get somebody to pay them for them, and hey, you're working. So what's the book? The book is, what are you going to do once you've got them in the job club? And then the other part is, how do you start a job club? Well, you find a place, you get the word out, you get your documentation together, you figure out what you're going to track. And what you usually track is, did you get the job? How much did you make? Is it full-time? Is it part-time? What was the title? Did you last? How long did you stay on the job? These very basic statistics are critically important. And if you're going to go to a training program, especially, the first question you want to know is, who's hiring? Can I talk to somebody who's working there?
Okay.
And if they don't have any statistics, I got nothing against hope and hot air.
Okay.
In the beginning, because you start something new and you're not really going to know. It takes about a year to write a rehab plan, get somebody into work. So the first year, you're really not going to know much. But by the second or third year, you need to have some statistics. And if they don't have any statistics, frankly, I'd look somewhere else. Unless you have some real good reason to think that what they're doing is going to get you or your loved one a job. All too many. There's all too many places that will train you. And when you get all done, you have a lovely certificate and no job. Okay. I haven't even got into on-the-job training and internships, but an internship can be a really good idea.
Right.
You're there. I mean, you or your loved one are there. They're learning how to do it, and if they're any good, they'll keep them. And even if you don't keep them, at least you've got some work experience.
Right.
I don't know what they're doing in Canada, but down here, the junior colleges have got programs in every JC I've talked to, where you can, in some fields, not others, electronics, they're good at it, where you can go out and work on the job and get college credit. And when you get all done, you got a letter of recommendation, you've got some experience, and hell, they pay you. Well, what kid doesn't want a little pocket money?
Everybody.
Not to mention adults. And retired.
So I want to ask you also about the interactive video and writing experience to publish a book on Amazon in 100 days.
I haven't done it, but my friend Liz has, or to be precise, they've got it all set up, and I think it's just a matter of plugging it in. I talked to him, and my twin brother wrote a book, him and a bunch of grad students.
Uh-huh.
He's a linguist, and so his specialty is the Spanish that's spoken in the Central Valley of California, and that some genius figured out that it was easier to teach one farmer, one rancher Spanish than it was to teach 100 braceros who come through every harvest English. Not to, I mean, especially because there's sounds in English that simply do not exist in Spanish or other languages. And anyway, so I asked my brother about this. What about it? And I told him what the thing was, and he said, "Hell, that's really good. Let's do it." Do you want to talk about my hobby, or is that too far afield?
Well, we can. I just want to know because your friend was also talking about an interactive video and wanted me to ask you about that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, we can talk about your hobby, sure.
Yeah, okay. Well, my hobby is the Voynich manuscript. V as in victory, Oynich. What's that? It's the most mysterious manuscript in the world. And it's supposed to have, or what, if you look it up on Wikipedia, they will tell you that it has an unknown alphabet and it's an unknown language. And my twin brother and I have been fooling with this for, yes, 25 years. I've thoroughly and carefully documented the alphabet. And unfortunately, we can't read enough to make a whole lot of difference, but we can show that the grammar, and my brother assures me the syntax, but don't ask, fit Nahuatl, they fit Aztec. And the alphabet that I've documented is from the Valley of Mexico between 1550 and 1615. Well, the skin it's written on it is dated, it's carbon 14 dated to 1425 or 7. And I've talked to the guy who did the carbon 14 date. He's right up the road here at the University of Arizona. And so we're not getting too far with this because nobody wants to hear it because it looks European. And the NSA, so the NSA the NSA can't crack it. The OSS tried before. And I showed my twin brother this stuff from I'm sorry, I'm blanking it. Click. What's the book? The book program?
Click book.
I showed it to my brother last night, and I ran it through ChatGPT. I ran an article he wrote through ChatGPT this morning, and we are all excited. We're ready to do this.
Nice.
I've written one article that's about, well, without the pictures, it's about 35 or 40 pages. With the illustrations and all the appendices, it's about 75. And my brother's written a couple of books that frankly weren't very good, but he sold them on Amazon.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey.
So I'm sure that we can do better. And like I said, my buddy Liz has already done it. So
that sounds exciting.
I've already done it, but I don't see any good reason why we can't. And so anyway.
Well, that's what we need to do is give people excitement, something to wake up in the morning and be excited about. I know there's a lot of opportunities out there. And how can people get in touch with you?
If you can spell my last name, you can find me. Do you want me to give out my email or?
Yes. Give out what you want. If you want people to contact you, contact the organization and how.
Let me look something up real quick. I don't want to give out my phone number because I don't want to.
Whatever you want. I mean, they can also contact through Autism Today, and I can get them in touch with whomever that you want.
All right, just a minute.
It's up to you. We just have them talk to other people that.
Okay, you can give this out. Give out john.autismvocations with an S @gmail.com.
Okay, so for everybody that is out there at the World Autism Summit, it's John, JOHN,
autismvocations@gmail.com.
Right. And I think everybody knows how to spell autism by now.
You don't have to spell Comegys.
Yeah.
If you look at it, you'll see it's misspelled.
Yeah. So that's good. Okay.
Okay.
Do you have anything else that you would like to share with our lovely audience?
Yes.
Okay, please do.
Yes. Just one last thing. This stuff is all handmade. You have to do it yourself. You can do this. And the kicker, the thing that'll give you hope in the morning, it gets better with age. Really, it gets better with age. I mean, when I was a kid, I was a toe walker. You know, I did not get along well with others. I learned all this stuff, and it gets better with age. And so time is on your side.
That's wonderful to hear. So it's always good to hear from somebody who is on the autism spectrum, who is autistic, or however you want to frame who you are. And, you know, I mean, like I've seen the pendulum go back and forth, different, you know, ways we talk about autism and, you know, how your life experience is and the value that you bring to the world and, you know, giving other people hope and inspiration and, the possibilities, you know, that you have.
Okay, and if somebody wants to start a job club,
Yeah,
or wants to know more about it, get in touch with me.
right.
Okay.
Yes, if they want to start a job club, if they want to find out more about QuickBook,
Get in touch with me.
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much, John. You are a wealth of information, and I hope that you enjoyed this as much as I did.
It was a kick. Thank you very much. Let's do it again anytime.
Okay.
All right.
That's good. Okay. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, can I have a copy of this?
Yeah. Let me just stop it.